Ladies and gentlemen, Bachelor audience, true crime audience, Dave Neal audience, hello. We all unite together today on this here Friday to discuss the court case known as Clayton Echard v. Jane Doe. And we've got breaking news. We will be sharing some of the emails that went on between victim number one, who we call Mike Maricini, the fettuccine. He puts the fettuccine into maraschino. The Italian stallion. We've got his emails, one of which I'm being told Jane Doe A threatened to have him arrested if he shows up and violates the terms of their order of protection. And two, then said she wanted to talk to Mike. Ooh, this sounds scandalous. We do need justice for Mike. So we're going to get into all of this jazz today. There is a lot to get into. We will review these emails here between Mike's lawyer and Jane's lawyer. Moki said, why single out and not the others with OOPs? I don't know. Maybe Greg Gillespie was also being challenged as well. Ramby Design says, does the order of protection still remain in effect even if in the court? Well, as far as I'm being told, if Mike is subpoenaed, then he is allowed to show up. But if he's a spectator, he's not. That's what I'm being told. Jane Doe was very upset at Clayton's injunction against harassment hearing when she found out that Greg Gillespie was in the same room, even though she, of course, attended virtually. It looks like she will be there sans moon bump, and we're going to get into all of this right now. Thank you so much for joining. Make sure to hit the like button an odd number of times. That will continue to pay for all of the joys of birthing. I was going to say home birth. We didn't stay home at all. Everything we did at the hospital involved a bill. They're like, would you like some breakfast? I'm like, what's it cost? What are we talking about? Is it cheaper to Postmates? All right. So anyhow, folks, if you want to dine in on some placentios with us, let's get nourished as we cover this case. I'm gonna jump right in. It looks like though my files might be out of order, so give me 1 second. Here it is. We're gonna jump right into the email that is from Jane Doe's lawyer and how that pertains to Mike Maricini. Email sent to Mike's lawyer. We'll get into this first. Then we're going to move on into the other emails. It looks like Jane Doe wants her expert to review the files on Mike Maricini's laptop. All right. I'm all about it. I would love for Jane Doe to hire an expert and have them show the files on Mike Maricini's laptop and prove that they were not sent from her. I'd love to see the legal limbo being played. Wendy said, why pick on Mike all of a sudden? I don't know. Why do moths fly into lights? I have no idea. She just sees boys and she wants to. So anyhow, we'll discuss all of this. And then maybe Megan wants to join. I haven't even asked her. Let's see if Megan wants to join. Getting better. People are asking me how night 3 was with the baby. It's getting better every day. I mean, I'm so lucky now that we live on Central Time Zone that I don't have to get up that early and I can start my day a little bit later. So because of that, I'm going to bed a little bit earlier with the baby. Not really, actually. We're going to bed around midnight. And then my wife and I are waking up every 2 to 3 hours to feed the baby. And I'm getting a call. Oh, geez, I can't answer it right now. Calls are coming in from Phoenix. Whenever I go live, I get calls coming in from Phoenix. Lots of people in Phoenix are watching, folks. Anyhow, so the baby wakes up every 2 to 3 hours, gets fed, pretty much goes right back to sleep. And then what's happened so far, the last 3 nights, Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night. Yeah. His last 3 nights or 4 nights actually, is he'll give us like one good long 3 to 4 hour sleep. That's all I need. I mean, yeah, we would love more, but that's all we need. Let me see. I'm going to send this to Meg. Oh, we got super chats flying in. Let me do this. I'm going to send this chat to Meg, and we'll see if she wants to join us here. And maybe she's free, maybe she's not, but I've got a lot of documents to read. So we'll see how that goes. Sending to her right now. Let me just text her and then we'll get going. I'm going to do this right now. We're going to do this right now. Reading the docs. If you want to join, just sent a link. All right, let's get into it right this second, starting after this. Stephanie with a $20 super chat said, "Oh, I spy a linen shirt. Looking forward to the tea goods, sir." Oh, you can't slip one past you. That's right. I got my good, healthy linens on. You guys know when the linen is affixed to the chest, we are going to spill the tea. That's how it works. Got a voicemail. Yeah, I'll have to get to it later. I'm getting voicemails from lawyers. Lawyers I'm not involved in. Lawyers that are not threatening me, but lawyers that are very interested in this case, that have other sort of thoughts about the matter, are sending us information. All right, let's dive into it right this second. So this was from Monday. This is from this a lot of action going on the morning of my baby being born here. So I did not attend to it, if you can imagine. This is to Mike's lawyer from Jane Doe's attorney. "I'm writing to document our discussion just now and to explain my position. Per the email below, we spoke about your client, Mike Medicini, about 2 weeks ago. At that time, I told you I just wanted to speak with Mike and hear his side of the story. But first of all, why would he care? Like, I understand, but he said the same thing to me. He wanted to talk to me. This guy loves to talk. I just imagine him with one of those headsets with his feet kicked up, just calling people all day long. You could imagine why Mike wouldn't want to talk to his accuser's attorney. The accuser's attorney works for the accuser, not for Mike. I can imagine why he would be like, you know what, let's just not talk privately. Dare you accuse me of something or twist my words? At the time, I told you I just wanted to speak with Mike and hear his side of the story, again, which is fully available in the deposition. I also explained that if Mike was going to be a witness in the Arizona paternity matter, I could and would be willing to subpoena him for a deposition if he was unwilling to have a simple phone conversation." Just the threats just keep coming, don't they? "In response to that discussion, you sent me the email below stating that Mr. Maricini was not going to testify at the trial in June." Again, this was, I guess, from a few weeks ago. So things change, folks. Things change. Since then, counsel for Mr. Eckert has indicated Mr. Maricini will be testifying in person at trial in June. This is, of course, inconsistent with what you said below. People change their minds. To clarify the situation, and by the way, it could be that Mike didn't want to testify until his deposition came out, and then people, and until it was I don't know the exact timeline, but it could be that he was just like, I don't need to testify. And then all of a sudden, there's Laura's attorney is opening up all of these wounds here. And if that's the case, maybe Mike's like, you know what? I can clear my schedule. June 10th, I'm free. Why not? Let's do it. And of course, that's when he started looking at his old laptop and seeing more absurd things she did. He blocked it out. Do you guys understand how trauma works sometimes? I don't mean to trauma-splain to you, but sometimes as a defense mechanism, you black things out. You don't want to remember certain things. He went through probably the worst time of his life, being accused of crazy things, having a TEDx talk that was done about him. I'm sure people from his high school were talking, and all those things that happen where you don't really know what's going on. You get paranoid. You're like, are people talking about me? Do people believe her? It's he said versus she said. All these things are going on. Is he a monster? And what the hell happened in Iceland? All these things. For sure, everyone knows that stuff will get talked about in group chats and behind people's backs. So he finally opens his laptop and he goes, oh my gosh, I have a note from her that's claiming she's got ovarian cancer. I've got her suing suing me for harassment and all these things. Then I've got her telling me she still loves me and all these other things. I've got her I've got this lawyer of her dad's that's trying to offer me $250,000 a year to work with her. Interesting. So wouldn't be surprised if as he unearthed and opened and rubbed the genie's belly, or the genie's whatever, what's it called? The canister, the spittoon, what's the lamp? Why does a lamp look like that? He rubs the genie's lamp, and all of a sudden he starts to see what's actually on that laptop. And then you guys get involved and raise money and all these other things. So, I mean, wouldn't be surprised if someone would change their opinion and go, you know what? F this BS. F this BS. So then it continues. To clarify the situation, I called you again today to ask if it was possible for me to speak with Mr. Medicini. Your response was, to paraphrase, no, we are not willing to cooperate with you. In light of that response, I want to make two things clear. And by the way, why? Why would they want to cooperate with him? Wasn't he threatening to file bar complaints against Woodnick law? Wasn't he? I mean, why would? In what world has Jane's attorney made it welcoming? What are you going to do? Compel her to get breakfast now? Well, you can't compel me to get lunch. Will you do breakfast? How about a scone? Can I compel you to get a scone? Can we compel a scone? Just a quick scone and a small coffee. Not even a large coffee, just a quick scone. So she says, we are not willing to get scones with you, metaphorically speaking, right? And let's continue. In light of that response, I want to make two things clear. If Mike Maricini intends to testify at trial, then I have an absolute right to know this, and I have a right to interview him. By the way, isn't that what today's all about? Today's May 10th. Isn't this the 30-day deadline? Shannon said, who would cooperate with their abuser's attorney? Oh, sure. Let me just give you anything you need. What do you, come on in. Scones. I got fresh scones. You want a scone? That interview. So Jane's attorney says, I have a right to know if you're going to, testify. I don't know anything about trial, but I think that's fair, right? I think it's fair that if he's going to testify, that he has a right to know, right? That interview can be done informally in a phone call, or it can be done formally in a deposition. Either way, refusing to cooperate is not an available option if Mr. Maricini wants to participate as a trial witness. On the phone, you suggested Mr. Maricini may just show up at trial rather than participating as a subpoenaed witness. He would simply choose to be there, either as a spectator or as a non-subpoenaed witness. If that is his plan, I need to be clear about our position. If Mr. Maricini, maybe we should do this with the law music here. This is good, like Law and Order type of stuff here, but I just wasn't ready for it. So let's just get ready to give the old Law and Order type of music. If Mr. Maricini shows up as either a spectator or as a non-subpoena witness, Jane will ask the Phoenix police to have Mr. Maricini immediately arrested for violating the restraining order issued against him. Boo. But I'm also receiving, you know me, I like to receive things. I'm also, let's see, hold on, I'm getting texts. Boom, 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 calling. Okay. Oh, my phone's not ready. Hold on. Let me ask, let me just get, if you come into office, can you bring iPhone charger? Okay, so let's keep going. Sorry guys, Megan Fox might call in, but my phone battery is low. Okay. No rush. Okay, so we've got that. Now, I've got, again, a very funny thing here. I'm just airdropping it to myself. Lots going on. I'm a one-man show. Oh, Dave, can they hire me as an editor? No, I am a frantic one-man dad. This is the voice of a dad sharing tabs. So anyway, we have this text. He asked for Jane to speak with me directly in an email, and I said, no effing chance. So she's willing to have him arrested if he shows up at a trial, which obviously there's security there, there's cameras everywhere, there's bailiffs, there's scones. I don't know. Do they do scones anymore? Can we get some scones at the trial? Bring me a scone. Bring me a scone. Justice for carbs. They try to cancel my carbs. So she wants to talk to him on the phone. And, it's kind of like when Clayton had his trial and she had that chance to cross-examine him, and she had that sort of Legally Blonde moment where she gets to cosplay like it's some very important trial. First of all, yes, the trial's important to these men, but you're not important. You're not important. If you were important, you probably would have kept one of them. Okay. I'm sorry. You're not important to them, at least. They want nothing to do with you. They are compelled to be there to put an end to your madness. Okay. So if you feel important, it's because of an abuse of the legal system that got people here in the first place. No effing chance. No effing chance. Wendy said that's a trap. Steph said, I wonder if Starbucks and Olive Garden will sponsor a trial after party. Honestly, I kind of feel like we should see. So where's let's do this. Maricopa County, Arizona, Olive Garden. Let's just see what we have here. I don't know exactly how close the Olive Garden is in to the courthouse, but maybe we can do a map here. Let's do Olive Garden, which is the closest one here. Happy Valley Road. So here's Scottsdale, right? I'm guessing there's an Olive Garden. Okay, not too many Olive Gardens that close, but maybe this one right here. There's an Olive Garden here, and maybe we can just see what the directions are to the Maricopa County Court. I don't even know what the courthouse is, but that's the courtyard. So maybe there's a close one. Oh, all right, okay, it's a 20-minute drive. It's a 20-minute. We'll see. We'll see if we can get there. Funny. Hey Joe said scone and breadstick money. Yeah, I mean the scone really is the breadstick of the breakfast, isn't it? It really is the breadstick of the breakfast. All right. So anyhow, they say he will immediately be arrested. I don't know why. When you don't sleep much, you crave more sugars. Although I'll tell you what, I'm very grateful. I've got a baby who he's quick to the poop. My baby, the second you put a new diaper on him and he has that nice clean diaper, new poops. He's a big new pooper on a clean diaper. So what I like to do is I like to pretend like I'm putting a new diaper on, but it's still the old one. That way he'll like poop into, okay, you know what I mean? 2-for-1 deal. Hey, you got to save money when you're a dad. You know what I'm talking about? You got to save money. And here we go. Another super chat. My mom and I are watching together in different states. Oh, Dave Neal's live stream, bonding between mom and daughter. How kind. So yes, we've got that breadstick and scone money coming in. So he then continues. In short, I agree. Mike Medicini can't testify at trial without fear of arrest, provided he complies with the rules of procedure. That means, among other things, I have the right to interview him and take his deposition if necessary. If Mr. Maricini does not want to comply with the procedural rule, that's 100% okay. So I don't think, as far as I can tell, again, we don't have her side. This is his summation of a phone call. I don't think he's refusing to participate, as far as the rules go. I just think he hasn't decided if he wants to be a witness or not. My guess is Woodnick will follow all of the rules and not get Mike Maricini arrested. But just the threat of an arrest is bizarre. It's like, look, they clearly don't want Mike to show up. I mean, he's got this laptop that shows she faked cancer. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Sue me for what the expert says that the laptop shows? And how are they going to find an expert to disagree? I'd love to see. I mean, there's wiggle room with experts, but when you have iMessages that come directly from somebody on a laptop that hasn't been connected to the internet in 8 years, yeah, find me somebody who's going to take their expert credentials. That's not, I retired 9 years ago. I was an expert when we looked at computers in the 80s. Remember those AOL CD-ROM discs that came in? I still have 3 of those. It's like, okay, cool. I'm an expert on modems, whatever. Okay. It's like, all right, I'm interested. They've got my attention. If Mr. Medicini does not want to comply with the procedural rules, that's 100% okay. I am more than happy if he wants to stay home, assuming he hasn't been lawfully summoned. But if he comes within 100 yards of Jane Doe without being compelled to appear by valid subpoena, then he will risk arrest and prosecution for violating the restraining order. Again. He asked for Laura Jane to speak with me directly in an email, and I said, no effing chance. That should be a t-shirt we make. No effing chance. Should she win? No effing chance. Erica said, wait, what sound does a modem make again? It makes the same sound my son makes when he's pooping. That pooping sound. Yeah, the modems were the real blazing technology of the 90s. Kim said they are threatening to arrest because they know he has evidence against her. They are threatening to use scare tactics. And again, that evidence already exists on the laptop. Now, of course, they can just subpoena Mike to show up. Like, clearly, if they need him to show up, he will. I've never seen the solidarity between past victims before. Oh, Meg's here. We got Meg's here. Hold on, we got Meg here. Oh, hello. How are you?
Hey, how are you?
I'm very well. I'm rested, and I'm discussing these emails. What's going on with you?
Well, I'm driving. If the audio's really bad, just let me know and I'll jump out.
To be honest, it's better than your home office.
That can't be real.
Is everything okay with you?
Yeah, everything's fine. It's just I have a lot going on right now. I don't really want to talk about it. But things get very expensive very quickly sometimes when you have a family and lots of kids. So that's my life right now. But anyway, these emails show to me he is being so disingenuous. He knows Mike Maricini is listed as a witness. He knows that. He knew that before he wrote that email saying, if he just shows up, I'm going to have him arrested. He knows he's on the witness list.
And of course, absurd. And that's why he says, if he's not subpoenaed, right? I mean, why would Woodnick not follow the laws here, especially with one of their clients having an OOP against him? Like, they're very familiar with with orders of protections at this point.
Well, and it turns out, though, that that's not even true either. He can go to a courtroom where she is being, where she's on trial. He would just have to let the court know, and they work it out because the court is a neutral place. You cannot use an order of protection against someone in a courtroom where there is security, police officers, sheriffs. You're perfectly safe in a courtroom.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably one of the safest places you can be. Now, obviously, there's scenarios where some lunatic jumps at the judge, but like, this isn't it. This is like, there's been no clear evidence of any violence by any of these victims, really, ever. Someone had commented that Gingras will likely try to pull some crazy Hail Mary to stop the trial. So what do you what do you think this is? Just like standard, the way he emailed, when he emailed me saying, I'm not threatening you. When I threaten you, you'll know. Is that what this is?
That's absolutely what it is. And this is his MO. He likes to threaten people and then say, I wasn't threatening you. And you can see in the same email, he says something to the effect of, don't get me wrong, I want him to come and testify if he's going to testify. I'm not trying to keep him from coming to testify. Bullshit. Bullshit.
Do you think, it almost feels as if this lawyer is being paid not just to win this trial, but to just wreak havoc. It almost feels like I'm trying to wonder, is this like Ron Owens money coming in? I'm getting very like conspiratorial. And are they trying to there has to be another reason he's doing this than just working for his client. You know what I mean?
I believe he got a big chunk of money and was told to do everything in his power to work on her behalf in the public sphere. So he's being a PR guy. He's being not only her lawyer, but he's running her PR campaign, and this is all part of it. And witness intimidation is not beneath him, clearly.
And this was an email. I was actually wondering where I got this info because I received it, when I was high as a kite, baby born, and I was like, I couldn't, and I was looking for it this morning, and I was like, who sent this? Well, we know this is Mike's, but with all of the content that Gingras likes to leak, he didn't leak the fact that he's trying to get on the phone all of his clients' victims.
Yeah, so he only tells you what he wants you to know, right? Did you get the other email? Do you have the other one where he takes it back, where he says, I 100% withdraw my threat to have him arrested? Do you have that one?
I do. I'm going to pull that up next. I haven't redacted anything, but
because that one's really interesting to me because he admits, in my opinion, he is admitting, I just said that because I was trying to get my way with something. because he wanted Mike to talk to him on the phone. So he thought that he could threaten him to make him pick up the phone and call him. And I mean, this guy, he is so low. He is a person who gives lawyers a bad name. He is the guy that all the jokes are about. You know, the joke that starts out, what do you call 40,000 lawyers at the bottom of the ocean? What? A good start. You know, it's the reason why people feel that way is because of people like David Gingras. And that's really unfortunate, because some of the best people on earth are lawyers. You know, when you need a lawyer, you get a good one, they can save your bacon. And
I agree. You know, my lawyer kind of became like a guidance counselor. He was really helpful in calming me down and things like that, because they know a language you don't as a standard normal person.
Yeah, exactly. And really the majority of lawyers are not like this. Okay. It's not true that lawyers are all shady and snaky. In my experience, almost all of the lawyers that I've had communications with and I'm friends with and people I've used for cases or whatever have been all amazing, upstanding people who care about the law and who would never violate the law, who would never push these kinds of, he's pushing the envelope so far with so much of this.
So what odds, I have people in the chat saying they think this is going to get settled. At what percentage between 0 to 100% do you think this could be settled before June 10th?
0.
I would have said 1. I'm not going to say 0, but like, yeah, I don't see how, because if Clayton settles, it's almost an injustice to these other men.
No, Clayton has already told her what she needs to do to settle. She refuses to do it. We're in the exact same position right now that she was in with Lexi a few months ago. Settle means sign a document that says you made this up, you fabricated these claims, Clayton never fathered any twins with you, and you're going to go seek some mental help or whatever it is that you need, but you're signing that document. And that's the only way this settles. And I don't think Clayton's changed his position on that. And I think the reason why it's a 0% chance they'll settle is because she will not do it. She will not admit to that.
Yeah, the only way, I mean, if I'm Clayton, I go, look, I'm going to need $1 million and I'm going to need $1 million for Mike, $1 million for Greg, and throw in a little bit for Matt too. I mean, like, because if you're Clayton and you settle for some sort of cash amount, then it doesn't undo all of the other injustice. So yeah, I don't see that happening. Hey, there has been some uptick in documentary talk. I'll have to talk to you offline about that, from one of the big 5 streamers with all of this new I mean, because so much has happened in the last few weeks that have just made this comically absurd, egregious, and offensive with all of the new sort of fabricated evidence that's come out. So we'll have to talk some more about that. Is it raining in New York? What's going on over there?
It is raining today. It is. Can you hear my windshield wipers? It's raining. It's very overcast and cold, which stinks because the last couple of days have been so beautiful, sunny and 75. And, you know, spring really came in with a beautiful sunny couple of days. And now we're back to cold and rain.
Yeah, well, you'll send a cease and desist to the rain for you there, so you can enjoy a nice sundress.
Motion to compel sunshine, please.
Are you going to be going live at all, or are you on your way home?
I'm on my way home. I don't know if I'm going to go live or not. I am going to work on a video, though. I've just got a lot going on. So I am also going to be working on an article about Mike Maricini's story. And I hope that this article that I write will be something that he can reference for the rest of his life. Whenever this comes up for him, whenever a background check shows that he has a restraining order, that he can just send this link to the employer and say, listen, I was a victim of a scam and here's the proof. So that's the next thing that I'm working on. Justice for Mike Maricini, because this is so much garbage.
It certainly is, and garbage needs to be taken out. I think we should, you know what we could do is also, have you ever considered a Reddit AMA? Do you know much about those?
I've thought about, I've heard about those. I have not considered doing it myself because my stupid Reddit account, well, it's a whole long story. But no, I don't know. Maybe we should.
We could do it from my account because I'm like verified, and then you just get, you know, they verify you on the AMA Reddit, like subreddit, so they make sure it's like a legit thing, and then we can answer people's questions. But those have a way of going super viral when it's as absurd as this is. So maybe we could talk about doing that, but that's just a different thought here. But yeah, you're I was reading your latest article, and everyone can go. Is it pjmedia.com? Is that where they can find it?
Yeah, pjmedia.com. I wrote a new article with kind of like the newest updates that there are, bringing in Mike and Greg, the laptop, and everything. And it's really unbelievable. And when you look back over this entire story, the reason it's so confusing for everybody is, look, we're uncovering 10 years of fraudulent activity by somebody. This is I wish we could put it in something succinct and easy for people to understand. And it's just impossible, you know, which is why I think a documentary would be such a great idea. It needs like a 5-episode, 6-episode, 3-season series, you know?
Yeah, I'm being told right now this one offer that's being discussed is a 3-hour, which, you know, that's about the same when you most episodes are like 30 to 40 minutes. So I feel like a 3-hour would still be chocked full of craziness. And then if it does well, there's always going to be like updated, you know, and that's the thing. If say HBO makes it, or say Amazon or whoever it is, after a year or two, then Netflix can still license it, even if it's not starting with Netflix. So for me, I'm all about whoever can get a budget and get a great director to make this will have the help of literal like dozens and hundreds of people that have been sourcing and cataloging all the information. So as wild as the story is, there is a lot of like sort of free help that's people trying to kind of get this thing to the finish line. So that'll be good. But okay, I had a question for you here. So did you see the part of the email where Gingras talks about getting their expert to look at the laptop? And what do you think about that?
So I think I skimmed over that part, but basically, isn't he complaining that he doesn't have enough time to get one?
Maybe that's part of it, but I think he wrote to Woodnick saying that he's got let's see, I'll read it for you right now. So this was Wednesday, May 8th. I'm gonna share it with my audience right now here. And this email is from Woodnick, from Gingras to Woodnick. Greg, just to follow up, I'm in the process of looking for a computer person in San Fran to look at Mike's laptop. Jane wants to move forward with that review, and while I'm not confident it will change anything, I do think it may help her remove doubts about what the laptop shows. That alone could be worth the effort. As discussed, I'd also appreciate you setting up a call with Mike Maricini if you can. I guess there's also a technical issue with that. Mike is, to my knowledge, represented by Randy, and I don't have her consent to talk with him. So Gingras is asking Woodnick to contact Mike's lawyer. Gingras is like the lawyer version of Jane Doe with regards to like people not wanting to talk to him. They both suffer from the same anxious attachment disorder, in my opinion. So then he says, so if Mike is open to having a call, which I hope he is, I just need to make sure I have consent from his counsel to speak with him. One last thing. After talking with Jane Doe about this, she said she has lots of questions for Mike. I told her my preference is to have her send me any specific questions, and I'll see if Mike wants to answer them. She also said she's willing to speak directly with him, but that may not be appropriate in light of the restraining order. It's her restraining order.
Oh my God. Oh my God. If this doesn't show how insincere she is, she wants to speak to the guy she claims almost killed her, and that she's so afraid of, she's going to have him arrested if he shows up in court, but she wants to speak to him. This is offensive.
I get wanting to speak to your accuser when they're being put away, you know, like, someone just got arrested. They're going to jail for 30 years. And then the witnesses get to have that last word before they lock them up. Like, I get that, but you're so afraid of this guy, and yet you're okay having a chit chat. So anyway, that's Gingras's way of compelling them to get scones. But then, so he continues. He says, she's willing to speak, but that might not be appropriate. Doi. On the other hand, if Mike has a strong preference in favor of directly speaking with Jane, maybe we can make that happen. I'm licensed in California and can probably do some sort of stipulation with Randy to modify the California order to allow this, just to be safe. P.S. This goes without saying, but to the extent I suggested Mike would be arrested if he comes to court in Arizona, that suggestion is completely and totally withdrawn. I only said that because I didn't want Mike to show up without giving me the chance to at least interview him.
Whoa,
So what he's saying
hold
is,
on. Hold the fucking phone. Hold the fucking phone. He just admitted that he used a false threat of arrest to make this guy pick up the phone and call him. What is wrong with him? Honestly, was he dropped on his head as a baby? Did he eat lead paint chips? What?
Megan, I'd love to be the car that pulls up next to you at the stoplight and just sees you yelling into the windshield. How dare you? Just white knuckles and oh boy, you're just, yeah. I will say you probably are speeding. I mean, you can't read this stuff and not just start hitting the accelerator out of like pure energy. So yeah, I mean, you're right. The kind of the slimy part is that Gingras threatened to have Jane have him arrested. You know what I mean? So everything he's doing is just on behalf of somebody else. You know, he's like, his hands are clean here. He's just doing his civic duty. Anyway, so
imagine for a second what he would say if Greg Woodnick sent him an email that said, I will have Laura arrested if she shows up at the courthouse when Clayton is there because there's an order of harassment against her. Imagine what he would say.
Great. Yeah. So that's a great way to turn the tides. So anyway, where did I lose it? He said, I only said that because I didn't want Mike to show up without giving me the chance to at least interview him as I would with any normal witness. By the way, I mean, isn't it like, don't you have the right to cross-examine somebody? So what's his problem?
Yeah.
I mean,
he has the right to talk to him before the trial or whatever, but he doesn't have the right to force him into this conversation through threats of arrest. If Mike doesn't want to talk to him, he can talk to him 10 minutes before the hearing. Like he can pull him into a conference room with his attorney and have whatever conversation. What does he want to know? He wants to know what he's going to say. We all know what he's going to say. Laura coerced him into a relationship using lies, threats of suicide, telling him she was pregnant with twins, telling him she got abortion she didn't get, fabricating medical documents. We all know what he's going to say. David is just wasting time here. He's wasting time. He's not entitled to depose this guy. He knows what he's going to say. This is not unfair surprise. Laura knows what he's going to say. Talk to your client, dingus.
So then he goes, as long as Mike agrees to have a reasonable call to answer to some questions, I'll stipulate and agree his appearance in Arizona is not a violation of anything and will not expose him to arrest of any other legal consequences. Can I tell you what I actually think is the most reasonable thing that's going on here? Can I be completely honest with you?
Yeah.
It's my opinion now that David Gingras may be bound and gagged in the casita, and this has been Jane Doe all along.
I know. I have that worry myself.
I mean, I don't see a scenario, although my lawyers talk to him and everyone who talks to him says, oh, he's super reasonable. Everyone who gets on the phone with him, like they get the charming side of things. And then you see sort of the manipulation, which again, if you're going to be a lawyer for someone like Jane Doe, the best shot you have here is to charm somebody to say something that they might regret. Right. So I don't know. And again, I have the response from Mike Maricini, which this is the paraphrase response, but he goes, Gingras asked for Jane to speak with me directly in an email, and I said, no effing chance. So there you go. No chance.
Yeah.
Let's see if we have the response here from Woodnick. So that was at May 8th, 3:35 p.m. And then here's the response an hour and a half later. Woodnick to Gingras, copying his associates, says, David, oh boy, you know it's going to be good when he starts breaking out the numbers. There's a 3-part numerical order here. He goes, number 1. This is like when you're in a fight with your boyfriend or girlfriend and they start bringing out the numbers. Number 1. Let me know about your computer expert ASAP. Mike is fine with the tech issues being reviewed by your expert. There are other files on that computer that are personal, so we need to figure out how to assure those are not accessed, but that should be navigable. Number 2, in addition to the tech confirmation, Colin Scanlon recalls all of this. So Colin Scanlon was Mike Maricini's brother-in-law, I believe. Colin Scanlon recalls all of this, and he was present during the meeting with Ron at 3330 Pierce Street in San Francisco, where they discussed the situation. Ron was apologetic for what Jane Doe had done. So for those that need the update, that is the sworn affidavit by Colin Scanlon, which said that Ron claimed and was apologetic that Jane Doe makes these things up and, do what you need to do to make it right with her. So that's the dad apologizing for Jane Doe. That's the only real commentary we've heard from her family. I don't know if you know this. I'm not afraid to share it now that it's been a week. I emailed members of the extended family of Jane Doe to ask for a statement regarding what I believe to be is a stolen ultrasound from Jane Doe's sister. My best hope was that Jane Doe's sister's mom or husband or someone would be like, hey, Jane Doe's sister might be blood related to her, but we ain't, and we don't tolerate this. And I haven't heard back yet, but I just thought that somebody would have a conscience here and want to.
Yeah, and by the way, I also reached out to David Katz, right? Wasn't that his name? Was it David Katz? And I haven't heard back from him either. And I really feel like at this point, those people out there who are covering for her because you have an allegiance to Ron Owens, you need to stop it right now. This woman is using you and your name and your reputation to pull off scams on people. Joe Cotchett ought to be ashamed of himself that he has not come out with a statement saying, I didn't write any of that stuff. Same with David Katz. David Katz, you have a reputation out there, and you're allowing this person to do this to people. It's bad. It's very bad.
Yeah. And I mean, I know a ton of people on the agency level in entertainment. So I'll try to do a little bit more digging here. I'm sure, David, what should be done is we should probably find out some of David Katz's higher end client list and try to get them to say, to ask their because in the end, David Katz worked for Ron and Ron no longer, is a moneymaker. Ron's never gonna make another dollar as far as I'm concerned,
right?
Other than maybe some sort of legacy documentary he wants or something. So this agent, I mean, do you think that he maybe just didn't get the email, or
no?
Is there a chance
I think he got it.
About this?
No, I think he got it. I mean, I can't say for sure because he didn't respond, but I have his actual email from his current company. And, I just think that these people are being cowardly. I think they don't want to burn any bridge with Ron Owens, even though, like you said, he's not making any money anymore. He's a sick old man at this point. He doesn't have any more pull in San Francisco anymore. So there's no reason why these people should continue covering for him other than the fact that they love him and they don't want to cause him any embarrassment. But that's too late. His daughter has already caused him embarrassment. His daughter has done that.
Yeah,
but to allow your name to be used in fabricated emails to further a con against these innocent men is really unbelievable. I would never do that. I would never allow that. I'd be the first one out there to say that wasn't from me. I don't know who did it, but it isn't mine.
Someone said, ask him on Twitter in public. I don't know if he's got a Twitter, but we could always do that. It's always nice.
We haven't seen, I looked for him on Twitter. I can look again. I don't think I found him, but if you guys can find David Katz, he's an agent. He works for a big company in New York City. If you can find him on Twitter, I'm happy to reach out to him because I don't understand this. I don't understand why the silence from all these people.
Yeah. Do you think that, do you know what agency he works at? Is it one of the big four? Is it one of the big ones, or?
No, it's his own company. He's like a part owner, and I don't remember off the top of my head. I have to look at my notes, and I have to go back to the email to find out the name of it. IT Goatee Brad knows it. He knows the name of it.
Yeah,
he and I did the research to find him.
Yeah, that's something that's definitely worth, because if we can get him to just verbally or just like come out, and pressure him to come out. That would be great. Stephanie in the comment section says, OMG, that computer will blow up if it gets into Dingus's hands. Yeah. What's the likelihood of a catastrophic computer failure if it makes its way to her team?
Oh, yeah, not good. I mean, I think that any expert, and although it's a good question, why is it taking him so long to find an expert in the San Francisco area? We found somebody in one day. Not only did we find him
right. San Francisco being the mecca of tech experts.
Yeah. And why did we find him? We not only found Berry Hill in one day, but he took the computer the same day.
Yeah.
So I don't think that there's any problem finding an expert. Maybe he's looking for someone who will be less than honest.
It's also super obvious how easy it is for an expert. These aren't deleted files that have to be pulled out of a hard drive, soaked in this. This wasn't a computer that was blown up it's right there. I mean, this was the easiest money that the expert could have made, and good, but you have to have an expert do it because of their credentials. So if Gingras does find an expert, I think it would be fair to look at that expert and see, are they retired or are they still actively giving their credibility? Because the reason why experts exist is because it's kind of when you need a human to vouch for something. And if an expert vouches for something they know is not right, then they'll no longer have any credibility and lose future earnings. So I don't see how it's worth it for anybody to want to be an expert if they feel like they're on the wrong side of the truth.
Yeah. By the way, I might lose you. I might drop out because I'm going through a black hole currently. But I think that this is all, he's just going to try and stall. He's going to try and push this out. He'll say to the judge he didn't have time to find an expert. And I don't think he tried that hard.
There it is. I'm going to continue reading. So if I lose you, we'll lose you. But I've read the two parts of the email from Greg Woodnick to Gingras. Here's the third. Mike mentioned he is underlined willing to talk to you. Of course, I let him know you were very thoughtful during our call today. Okay, so that's nice that Woodnick and Gingras are back on good terms here. He then says he needs to vet it with Randy. I did not mention Jane wanting to talk to him only because I forgot, but I'm going to guess that we'll take a hard pass, but I could be wrong. This needs to end. Sincerely, Greg. All the best, Greg. So there it is, Greg, anticipating a hard pass from Mike Merritt. Yeah, all the best. So anyway, that's where that ends. And then we have an email from Mike Maricini to Gingras. Have you read this one? Can you hear me?
I have. It's incredible.
All right, I'll just read it right here.
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, interject at any point. Oh, okay, here we go. Mr. Gingras, okay. Greg Woodnick reached, again, this is from Mike Maricini. Greg Woodnick reached out to me and gave me your contact number because you have expressed a desire to speak to me. I want you to know that I was about to call you and tell you about my harrowing experience with Jane Doe and all the lies she told, including, but not limited to, lying about being pregnant with twins, telling me she had cancer, threatening the S word, and emotionally terrorizing me to coerce me into a relationship with her. All right, so we're not mincing words here. This is Mike Maricini calling her an emotional terrorist. Wow. But before I could pick up the phone, I saw that you tweeted out a photograph of me and Jane and audio from a radio show we did together from that traumatic time in my life. I cannot express to you how inappropriate and offensive that action was. You have accused me of fabricating evidence and lying, which led me to take my laptop directly to an expert for analysis. I had moved on with my life and had no interest in opening up old wounds that have so injured me, but you made it impossible for me to sit quietly. Oh, I'm loving this so far. You posted my deposition online to accuse me of lying, and you humiliated me purposefully. I deeply resent the allegations, which is why I decided to turn over my laptop as evidence in the Clayton Eckerd case against Jane. We both know that she sent those doctored medical records to me, and now you have the proof. I could not in good conscience remain quiet and watch Jane use this same playbook against another innocent man. I have decided, and by the way, I really hope this is cathartic for Mike. I bet it is. I'm glad he's getting this off his chest, and we're going to just continue to shout this. But this is real powerful stuff.
Savage.
Real powerful stuff. And you know what?
Fantastic.
He's not kicking and screaming. He's using strongly worded, a strongly worded email here to tell him how it feels to deal with emotional terrorism. He continues, I have decided that I will not speak with you on the phone. Hey, Mike, I made the same decision. I said, you know what? We don't need to say anything here. Let's let the lawyers do the talking. He said, I will speak in a court of law on June 10th under oath, and I will tell the truth about the horrors that Jane visited on my life. You may ask me any question you want, and I will answer with the whole truth. You do not understand or willfully refuse to accept how traumatizing my interaction with Jane Doe has been. She has destroyed my reputation and ruined background checks by taking out a fraudulent order of protection against me based on lies that have affected me personally and professionally. She accused me of horrific acts of DV that never happened. She fabricated medical evidence and held threats of suicide over my head to keep me locked in a relationship that was toxic and deeply disturbing. But perhaps the worst thing you have done is to suggest that I should talk to Jane Doe, the woman who attempted to, and in many ways did, destroy me. This is the same woman who continues to renew the false order of protection against me and pretends to be terrified I'll be in the same courtroom as she. Why would someone so afraid of me want to speak to me and violate that order she insists she needs? This just a day after you threatened to have me arrested if I showed up at the courthouse to be a witness. The fact you would suggest such an inappropriate call between me and my abuser provides to me you have no idea how inappropriate it would be to speak to the women who fabricated wild tales about me and turn them into a TEDx talk and an entry in Chicken Soup for the Soul that will live on forever. This letter, which has been painful for me to write, has addressed everything you wanted to speak to me about by phone. All the best, Michael Maricini.
All the best. All the best.
I'm crying. I'm literally teared up over here for this guy.
This is great. This is fantastic.
Wow. I had no idea that this email existed, but boy, is this just a fastball down the. This is untouchable. This is when you know that you have all of the truth on your side. Mike felt alone on the battlefield for years, and here he is knowing he's got thousands of people by his side who believe him. Wow.
That's right. And I was talking to Mike today. I told him that I am going to write an epic tale of his story that will be published forever to counteract that TEDx talk and the Chicken Soup for the Soul garbage. And it will exonerate him, and it will sit on the internet also forever, so that anytime it comes up that this, that he was involved in this DV nonsense, he can point people to it to say, oh no, here's the real story. And I'm so glad Mike came forward. I've gotten to know Mike a little bit over the last week or so, and he's just a super nice guy. He did not deserve to have this happen to him. And we're going to make sure that it doesn't going forward. The time is over for her to be affecting his life ever again. From this moment on, it's over.
And I said this on my live, I think before you popped in, that I can understand why Mike and other victims just didn't want to deal with this. Just, the human condition of kind of blacking this out and putting it behind you. He's got a happy family. He's got all these good things going on, but they really unearthed this sort of demon that's been looming over him, and this negative this trauma. It's all it is. They've unearthed the trauma. They fracked the trauma right out of Mike Maricini, and he's on. He's just on right now.
Fracked it out of him. It was a fracking expedition. That's a great descriptor. By the way, I have breaking news. I did contact TED. Not TEDx, but TED, because TEDx is an offshoot of TED. And I tried to contact the TEDx place that she put that up on YouTube a while ago, but I wasn't able to find anyone there. But I sent a formal press inquiry now to TED.com. And I have given them the latest filing in the case that lays out the terrible things that Laura Owens did to Mike Maricini. And I have put in there the press articles. I have asked them very seriously, what more will it take for you to act and remove the defamatory thing? Does have to take action against Ted? Is that what has to happen? Does he have to file a lawsuit? And I asked them, maybe you could avoid that by just doing the right thing now that all of this is out there and we know that this woman has fabricated medical records. She is telling lies. It should not be on the platform, period.
Yeah. Ted, dirty, delete it. Let's go, Ted. I mean, my one thing I think I might do as a storyteller is, and I think I've mentioned this to you, is try to find a way to tell this entire story TED Talk style. And I'm assuming they wouldn't pick it up, but I have no problem self-funding and producing it, which would just be me on stage in front of a live audience with a sort of PowerPoint slide of all of the atrocities and how we can sort of, I think what a lot of people want to find out is like, how can we change? We have to make right for these victims, but there also has to be maybe a change in legislation along with a change in making sure she can't do this again. So
I think that's a great idea. Gosh, I'll let you know if I hear back from TED.com. I hope that, somebody turned off the comments at some point. So they knew that the public was upset about it. I also posted that to them. I said, I posed that question to them as well. I said, it's clear that you've taken the comments down because the public was trying to alert you that this is a fraudulent story. And instead of taking down the whole talk, you just shut down the comments. I want to know how you came to that decision. How do you make the decision to just shut the public up instead of do some research into this thing that you put your name on?
Yeah, people think that she had it taken down and, they're harassing me. And so they probably removed the comments because of her. I actually spoke to a while back the studio where she shot the TEDx talk. And wouldn't it be funny while we're in town if you and I show up to the studio and do our own? Like
that would be hysterical.
I'll pay the 1 hour session fee and I'll just get the little TEDx logo in the background.
We should do it. We should do it. That'd be so funny.
We'll get a big old breadstick basket there and we'll do all right, an update to the story. And then whenever people watch her TEDx talk, they have to then be stepping to ours.
I love it.
It's wild stuff.
All right. I just got home, so I'm going to drop off and maybe I'll come back in with you if you're still going on from the studio.
I'll be here for another half hour. Then I'm going to go introduce my son to the Patreon.
That's so exciting.
He's been begging me. He's saying, Papa, please, I want to say hi. So we're going to do that in a little bit. But,
awesome. All right.
Come back in. Let me know.
All right.
All right. Bye. All right, there it is. Wild stuff, guys. I mean, isn't this wild? Let's continue here. Again, we'll probably only go until, another half hour or so. And by the way, thanks. Let's go to your super chats here. I'm going to get to the next bit in a second. But I mean, I'm not lying. Sometimes I read these emails beforehand and I know what to expect. I was not expecting that email from Mike Maricini. I was not expecting to feel emotional on my end. I've never had this. I've never had a false accusation. I've never had a giant character smearing type of thing. And yet I felt the pain of Mike's words as he goes, because it's almost hard sometimes for people to wrap their head around how a man could be abused, right? It's kind of hard. And on a physical level, this would have never happened. She would have never threatened him on a physical level. She got to him in ways that he couldn't defend himself through his character and through a system that was designed to protect her, not him. And because of that, I mean, these words of his are just wild. And we've got her lawyer's response. We'll get to that in a second. Yeah, Mike did a really great job with that. Chris said, I will split the Uber with you to Olive Garden. Oh, yeah, we're doing Uber pool, Chris. Come on, let's get into it. And then Just Hear Me Out said $5. Dingus, as a PR guy, he's really managed to improve her public image. I can't. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if he's made her public image worse, but he certainly hasn't helped it. Her image was already kind of on the ground. I don't know if you could dig it any lower, but he certainly didn't help. Then Chris said, did you know the main character actor from Baby Reindeer is the actual real life person it's about? Mike should star as himself in a limited series too. Yeah, so Baby Reindeer, I'm actually going to be discussing it on today's afternoon Rush Hour. So if you guys want to hear more about that, go to the Rush Hour podcast right there. And I'm going to be discussing how Baby Reindeer kind of relates to this story. But Piers Morgan actually interviewed the crazy person from Baby Reindeer. I don't know if you guys have been listening and following this, but Baby Reindeer is a Netflix show. The lead in the show is the guy who actually dealt with the abuse. And she says now that she's only emailed him a couple times and she's not the crazy person. But again, it could be pure delusion. I mean, she says she'll show all of her laptop in her sent mail and everything. And he claims that she, was this wild and crazy harasser. So again, whether it's true or not, I mean, who knows? But this is a very interesting story that a lot of people are saying is great that Netflix kind of produced this scripted show, because it did show male abuse. It showed male abuse from another male, and it showed it from an older woman, and how that looks, and how no one believed the lead actor in the star of the show. No one believed him when he said he was being harassed by an older lady. And of course she was, it's interesting. It's wild. Okay. So we're going to get into the, I saw someone's comment earlier saying that I say we're going to get into something and then we digress. That's what we do, folks. We are here for the digression. And by the way, if you haven't seen right now, yes, I do have my gavel. This was sent from Amy. So I will be here. Oh, I've already got some dents in it. I will be here to adjudicate all the madness. And also I did receive some gifts from you guys, from Luis and some others. So I'll maybe open some of those during the Patreon. Let me see where my wife is. Hey, honey, are you out there? You want to come in or no? No, we don't have to go live now, but I'm going to do another half an hour here. Then we'll go to the Patreon. Are you close to the photos? Okay. My wife's posting our Instagram photos, our first baby photos. And then I'm going to introduce the baby to the Patreon. My thing here is like, I'm not trying to pimp out my child. And I know publicly, like, there's so many kind people, but we'll get to it. We'll make a vlog. We'll slowly introduce him. We have to kind of figure out what's ethical on our end for the baby. I'm not worried about like, sharing his image against his consent. I'm not worried about that. Babies don't look like who they become as adults. We're not putting them in any compromising position. We're just sharing love, right? So I'm not worried about that, but I still kind of like have to see how I want to navigate all that. So the Patreon will, again, today get to meet the baby. Jennifer said, have Mike Maricini do the semi TedX talk. That would be great. Yeah, it'd be fantastic. All right, let's continue. So we got that email from Mike, which was just really emotional to read. And then we have the response from Jane Doe's attorney. Don't read ahead, folks. Mike, please call me David. Just for your information, there's an ethical rule for lawyers that says I'm not allowed to communicate about a case directly with a represented party, meaning a person who is currently represented by a lawyer, unless I have consent from that person's lawyer. That limit only applies to discussions about the matter in which the person is represented. So, for example, if you were represented by a lawyer in a lawsuit involving a car accident, if I was the opposing lawyer, I could not speak directly with you about the car accident without your lawyer's permission. But I could still talk to you about something else: sports, the weather, politics, etc. I know that's a weird rule, but it's something I take seriously. Of course, you should take it seriously. You've got the Arizona bar, looking over you like a hawk. I know that's a weird rule, he says. In this situation, it's not clear to me whether anyone represents you with respect to Jane's case. I know Randy previously represented you with respect to the California order of protection stuff, which is all resolved now. Oh yeah, it's resolved all right. To my knowledge, she does not represent you with respect to the Arizona case involving Jane and Clayton. I also don't think Greg Woodnick is representing you with respect to Jane's case. He has never claimed to be acting as your lawyer. So at this point, I think you are technically not represented with respect to Jane's case, but I'm not 100% clear on this. It's entirely possible for a lawyer to represent you with respect to one thing, but not with respect to something else. Good golly, get to it. So to err on the side of caution, I need to make sure that if you are represented by anyone with respect to the Arizona case, I have permission from your lawyer to talk to you about the Arizona trial Bearing in mind, I understand you don't want to talk at this point. If you are not represented, that's fine. I just need to know. I'm only mentioning this so you didn't think I was ignoring your comments below. I do want to respond, and I do want to encourage you to change your mind about talking to me. I promise it's not a big deal, but I just need to make sure you aren't represented by anyone first, since that hasn't been made clear by either Greg or Randy. P.S. I removed that tweet from yesterday, and I'm happy to remove anything else if you asked. All right, so he did the whole apologize, don't ask permission. So he removed the tweet there. And let's see if we have a response. That might be it. So there it is. So Mike, he says his piece, all the best, which, by the way, has to be the name of the documentary at this point. All the best. He says his piece. And then he shares Greg's response, which is, I can't address all of the toxic and deeply disturbing things from you because ethical this. And we understand, whatever. So anyway, that might be it. As far as that email goes, there was a lot of other information. I don't know how much of it I'm going to get to today, but let's do this. Let's check out the subreddit. If you have, I know most people already do this, but it's so important to continue to support the subreddits that are here. Justice for Clayton keeps on posting our content to make sure everyone's up to date. So let's just go there and see if there's anything new other than what we've got going on here. It looks like that's going to be it for today as far as new information. We already shared this. Oh, this was updated 1 minute ago. So we already shared the email. Looks like they're clipping our content. Very good. Continue. Again, share as much of what I'm sharing here as you can. I only ask on Patreons to not share things I'm sharing there because it's sometimes things I'm not ready to present publicly, you guys know. So it's like if I'm working on something, I'm okay if the Patreon sees it, but I'm still trying to cross my T's and dot my I's and get all of that stuff. Hold on a second here. Loud little ducky, response motion. So other people are covering it. Lauren Needy covered it, which was amazing. Everyone go check out her.
Tell me your.
And I think that's it right now. Let me do this. Let me just go through some of your super chats. I don't know which of these I've already covered here, but Tootsie Tidbit says Mike's letter is so powerful, and the bold all the best is chef's kiss. It truly is. Jackie and Tara, $5 said Mike needs to make a TEDx talk or TEDx and share his soon to be triumphant story. Yeah, and I don't know if he will, but I think it would be great if he did. I personally know I'm uniquely qualified to perform that in front of a live audience. Not to make a mockery of it, not to boost my career. Because let me tell you something, as a comedian, there is nothing about this case that I find funny. Truly, like I've made a few jokes that are like more about how ridiculous the accuser is, but there's nothing about this that I find funny. Brad said, "Oh yeah, absolutely. Here we're getting some real interest in doing the AMA." So yeah, no worries for people that shared copies. What I'm trying to say is this: if I share anything on here, tweet it. Make a reel out of it, a TikTok, do whatever you want to cut it up. This is fair use. We are trying to elevate the story. That's what we're trying to do here. Sometimes it's through a 10-minute video. Sometimes it's through a 2-hour live stream. It really just depends on what new information we find out there. So, and again, here's something interesting. This was sent to me. I'm sharing this with you guys. Just to see if you guys know something I don't know. But there's a company called datingcomplaints.com, and it's about sharing your dating dilemma. Have you faced heartbreak, deception, or dishonesty in your relationship? We're here to listen. So it's about reporting cheaters. And it's very interesting because what I noticed here was that the lawyer attached is David Gingras. And again, he has the right to work for any companies he wants, but I'm only posting this to ask if anyone knows anything about this company. Do your digging or whatever. I just wonder. I truly wonder how Jane Doe and David Gingras came together. What was it about her that he wanted to be a part of? Was it the challenge? Was Jane Doe's family involved and they needed like a real, because they found the one guy that could possibly shake this thing apart and find find some sort of speed bump or some trap that could get this thing dropped. That hasn't happened, but they did find that guy. They needed a guy that would go in there, bull in a china shop, and just tear things apart. Sadly, when he shook the tree, new evidence came out making her look worse. Okay. New evidence being the HCG test that she doctored or was doctored and sent to me from her. Okay. Can I not say she doctored it? It was doctored and sent to me from her. Wink. Got it. All the best. We have that. We have the sonogram that then was unearthed from her sister. It appears to be her sister's sonogram. Doesn't come from anywhere else. And now we have the issue that I have with as far as the ethical concerns with Gingras here is this. He seems like he's the type of guy who values playing by the book. I want to let you know that I can't talk to you without a lawyer. I deeply value these rules. So we know he wants to play by the book. We also know he says things like, it's okay if my client lied in the past, as long as they haven't lied since I've been with them. So he says kind of weird things like that. But the crazy thing is like, how can we entertain this guy when he's willing? Look, I don't think he's a dumb guy at all. He passed the bar in multiple states. I hear California is a hard state to pass the bar. I don't know if that's true or not. Let's assume he's a really smart guy. Let's just assume that, there's no way he believes her. He's choosing which evidence he can exploit versus which evidence he can't deal with. You're not seeing him really make any complaints about the sonograms I've unearthed. He's just ignoring it. He's ignoring the hard evidence because there's nothing he can say about it. He's going for the other little things, the evidence that can't be proven, like the Planned Parenthood stuff. He can't prove she was never at Planned Parenthood because you can't prove a negative. He says this on Cinco de Mayo. Jane says she was told by Planned Parenthood that she was pregnant with twins. This was the ultrasound that she later admitted to editing that changed the name of the facility. I don't know what you mean by the October sonogram. To my knowledge, there is no October sonogram. It's possible you're talking about one or more fake sonograms that someone else created and then sent to certain online media people. Jane has denied having anything to do with those. And so far, I haven't seen any evidence to the contrary. You're not looking. David, you're not looking. You want me to call you David? I know you know that ultrasound exists. It was sent to me on October 12th from Jane Doe, where she said she was 21 weeks pregnant. That ultrasound, it is my belief, was a text message from her sister when her sister was sharing her pregnancy updates because her sister gave birth June of 2023. There was multiple pieces of evidence on that ultrasound which showed it was doctored. And you might say, well, just because it was doctored doesn't mean it was from my client. We have it coming from her email. And it came on October 12th, after she had already claimed for years that people were hacking her account. Can you get a better password, Jane Doe? So we have that. Not only do I have it coming from her account, on that same day I received it, I sent it to the flock. So that has been uploaded to Dropbox, sent through other DMs. I can provide you 10 different sets of data that are all timestamps that tell you your client lied about her ultrasound. And the best you can do is say, I don't know anything about the October ultrasound. You'd think someone who has their head so far up Jane Doe's ass here with regards to information she wants to share would be very interested about this ultrasound that would disprove everything they're talking about. That ultrasound doesn't just exist here in the ether on YouTube. It's part of the evidence that has been shared with Clayton Echard's side. I don't know what else to say, guys. I don't know what else to say other than, talk about pissing on my leg and telling me it's raining. Seriously, what more? What more do you need as far as evidence that shows your client is not operating out of good faith? And also he says, look, she may have lied in the past, but if she was to lie now with me, I drop her tomorrow. He says, I make that promise. No, you won't. No, you won't. You've lied. You've lied. You overplayed your hand. You said you would drop her if we prove she lied. So then we ponied up some chump change, $2,750 to get a forensic expert to look at that laptop very quickly. Found that expert very quickly. Why can't you find an expert in the same county, right? In the same bubble of San Francisco where all of the world's tech comes from? Why can't you find an expert to poke holes in an ironclad laptop that hasn't been connected to the internet in 7 years? And the laptop even has these laptops. This isn't like well, I've got this piece of writing that says it was from the 70s and we got to look at bamboo fibers. And no. The laptop's got digital time codes up its ass, shoved into the CD-ROM. It's got all of the evidence. 1,400 pages of codes of line saying your client sent a fabricated cancer to Mike Maricini in part so that he'd be a good boyfriend and make her hot chocolate while she was going through chemo. Your client is doing this. It's been proven, and we encourage you. And we said this before. We'd raise the money for you to get in a consultant, and we're not going to do that because I'm not going to give you a penny, but we would, because we know they're going to say the same thing that this expert said. How many experts? 10 experts in a row. Can we get another expert to show that she sent these iMessages? My 4-day-old son could tell you that she sent those. And go down. He sent it. Unbelievable. Bursting with evidence, says Shannon. Bursting with evidence. Bruce says, don't disparage my 70s bamboo. Well, you remember how they were looking at bamboo fibers that came from China to prove election fraud? It's like, what are they talking about? It is clear-cut, egregiously, and offensively been fabrication of medical evidence, fabrication of emails from agents to get them to do some $250,000 a year podcast. Sure, let's do it. Let's sign up for that. And even with the $250,000, he said, you know what? I'll pass. All the best to you. And he said, fuck off. That's what he did, right? That's what he did. All the best is the biggest F you that you can give them right now. And that's what he did. And we're here watching it going, oh my gosh, we've got strong men like Greg, Clayton, and Mike all just telling their truth and not doing it apologetically. Maybe Matt does the same. We don't know if Matt's going to come along. We don't need it. We don't need it. We already got them. And then we got strong women like Megan Fox and those that are running to the courthouse every day to get new documents. Dana and the Flock and Justice for Clayton and Bruce with his bamboo. We got them all. And they're not part of some crazy cult because we're just addicted to trying to find some evidence where there is none. It's flat out in front of your fucking face. That's where it is. So when you say, I don't know where the ultrasound is, what's this October evidence? You know my lawyer. Ask for it. We'd be happy to send it to you. I'm sure we're not going to see that in your blog. All right, folks. Yes, the evidence is in Dana's bra. She's got multiple hard drives stuck in the bra. Claude says Dave's freewheeling right now. Yeah, the coffee hit. Surprise witness. Dun, 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 Matt. Have this man arrested. So he threatens that he was going to get him arrested. And then he says that he only wanted to get him arrested so he could talk to him. It's like, I only wanted to arrest you so you'd have a conversation with me. Arrest me if you won't eat scones with me. It's absolutely wild stuff. All right, I got to get out of here. This was our piece of content for the day. I'm going to be going live on Patreon within 5 minutes. I will continue talking about this. I will continue. Let's just make sure I don't have any. I'm sure you've seen this, but okay, good. We got all that. Unbelievable that this information just came in. It's really just wild stuff, folks. So again, we'll continue to talk about this a little bit on Patreon. We're going to go make the podcast. I might do pizza tonight. I don't know. I don't have a Friday tradition with my baby. It's his first Friday. Oh, I did have a song for you guys. I know. I had a good song. It's called Daddy Mode. It's called Dad Mode. I got a couple of these. I'll tell you what. Well, let's hang out for a few minutes while I play some of these songs here. Anyway, this is Dad Mode. It's emo punk, and this is my first Friday as a father.
Nursery rhymes in my head, that's all I know. Rocking this baby to sleep with my punk rock show. Black onesie and leather jacket. We're too old, can't stop me now. I'm in dad mode. Sipping on coffee, singing lullabies, changing diapers with tears streaming from my eyes. This tiny human's got me feeling so alive. Can't stop me now, I'm in dad mode. Dad mode, dad mode. Evil fucking baby bottles.
Dad mode, dad mode.
Lullabies with punk rock throttle. No sleep, no rest, just love and endless clothes. Can't stop me now, I'm in dad mode.
instrumental. That's dad mode for you guys. That's going to be it for me today. Go to patreon.com/Dave Neal if you want to join us. We're going to introduce our son to the party. If you want to see the baby pictures, we will have them up on my Instagram at DNeals. I'm done here. Gavel's out. We did it. It's dad mode. We had a Friday. And give some love to Mike Maricini for taking back his truth. We love Mike. We have justice for Mike, Clayton, Greg, and everyone else involved. That's dad mode for you. Dads make change.
No sleep, no rest, just love and endless cuddles. Kiss off me now, I'm in dad mode.
We'll see you in Patreon in 5 minutes. Patreon.com/Dave Neal in 5 minutes. Thank you guys. We'll see you later. Have a good
Sipping
Friday.
coffee, got my shades on.